So the topic I came up with was the secret weapon of the ambitious entrepreneur. I like to have things get your attention, and I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. I wonder what it is." So, if you will indulge me in the chat, I want to know what people thought perhaps the secret weapon was. Anybody has any ideas? Authenticity, that's a good one. Passion, that's necessary. Otherwise, we give up as entrepreneurs. Motivation, those are all really good. Resilience, heck yes, we would have gave up long ago, Miss Karen. Anyone else have a guess? You! True. We are the secret weapon. Openness to learning. Aw, thank you, Lauren. Consistency is a great one. Ability to focus. Those are all amazing skills. Clarity. Any others? Those are all great. All definitely things we need to be really good entrepreneurs. Drive. Yes. Drive, passion, ambition. Those are all really good. However, what I want to talk about has nothing to do with any of those things. We're actually going to talk about self-care, which is in my opinion, the missing piece. A lot of us, we have big dreams, but when we hit a burnout is not going to let you have that dream. So, in my opinion, one of the best things and that secret weapon or that tool in our tool belt that so many people don't have is actually taking care of ourselves, not only on a physical level, but also on that mental level. So they're not luxuries. It's what fuels our ambition. It's what keeps us going. And we are our business's most valuable asset. So when we're sick, when we hit burnout, we are no longer going to be building our business, building our dreams, or hitting our goals. So we want to protect that energy and implement some self-care steps in that growth strategy. So we're going to look at some habits. And if you want to grab a piece of paper or just think about it for a second, you can even share in the chat if you want. Write down a couple of the good habits you may have. So whether it's you go for a walk, you watch what you eat, and then be honest, you don't have to share these, but list some of your bad habits. Some of the things you know aren't filling you up, are not helping you move forward, be stronger. And then once you've done that, if you can just in the chat, let me know. Ice cream. I've been there. Oh, I made the mistake of buying a box of those ice cream sandwiches, and then I couldn't give them away fast enough. I ate three of them one night for supper, and then I had to give them away. Overdoing it. Yeah, that is a bad one. So what we'd like to do is we look at our good habits, look at our bad habits, and then if you can, pick even just one thing that you're willing to let go of. Bad, yes. I'm bad for that too. Saying yes to everything, Lauren. I'm the girl that doesn't know the word no, except 5K every morning. Grace, you are a rock star. Yes, I'm the same girl that pushes herself too far. Like I said, I wanted to make those links available, and I stayed up to after midnight last night only to find out, thanks to Miss Karen, that they are only live for me, which is kind of funny. But like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning. So once we've looked at our habits, we're going to just have a quick look at some of the healthy habits that I've put down. So, one is eating a balanced diet. I know when you're really busy, that's hard. In 24 years of policing, the thing that got me through, and I finished wearing the same size pants and the same gun belt, which is pretty much unheard of. A part of that was the healthy diet. I pre-packed my lunches, I pre-packed my snacks. I would make an effort on one of my days off to plan for the next 4 or 5 days of work, and I would have everything available. Otherwise, it's just impossible to be healthy, especially if you're busy and you're on the run. I always have protein bars and nuts, fruit, everything. That's why I carry such a big purse. Drinking more water. That is something that I need to focus on. I love my coffee. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I've had two coffees and I've had no water. So really try to balance that. If you keep a big glass by your desk when you're working hard, you're more likely to get it in you than actually getting up. The other good thing about drinking lots of water is you will have to get up and get off from working and move about a little bit more. Getting enough sleep, I'm really bad at that one, but trying to focus in, I actually use my cell phone for that. I set a timer. So my phone will say in the morning, it will say great workout, which is kind of a slap in the face sometimes because I haven't done it yet, but it's a great reminder. It also, because I'm really bad for not eating, I have reminders on my phone to have you eaten lunch yet? Have you had supper? At night, it will remind me that it's time to turn off my computer. It's time to get ready for bed. And then I get a 30-minute warning to turn off the lights and go to sleep because I will stay up way too long. This is one that I feel really strongly about. It's not a normal one you'll see, but removing the toxins from our life. And why I put that isn't just getting bleach out of your house, which I highly advise. It's like deadly. But toxins can be not only things that are in our environment, but they're what we're putting into our body, whether we're eating a lot of processed foods with a lot of chemicals, also what we're using. And the big thing with toxins that I talk about is the people in our life. I mean, we can't maybe get rid of all of our family sometimes, but we can limit our interaction with them. And there are people in our lives who are soul draining. You, especially as an entrepreneur, you have these great ideas and you share them. And instead of them saying, oh, that's great, or good, even just good luck, they always have to poo-poo everything you're trying to do. So I suggest, as we're entrepreneurs and we're trying to be healthier and move forward and productive to reach our goals, is either eliminate or lessen how much that person is in our life. Supplement if needed. That depends on your diet, depends on your own health. We all need to possibly exercise a little more. Maybe not the lady that gets up and runs 5K in the morning. I've thought about that. And then the other thing when we're looking at our self-care is, have you realized what are your signs? And what is your mental capacity? So if you take a second and think about that, what are the signs that you are perhaps overwhelmed, that you're tired, that you've hit a wall? And if you're willing, if you want to share them in the chat, things that you've noticed for yourself. If anybody has any to share, any signs that they notice that they're perhaps doing a little bit too much. Difficulty getting up, definitely. Concentration, developing anxiety. I know all about that. Before you all logged in, I was a little anxious trying to figure out how to run my PowerPoint without losing my screen and everything. Pushing back, avoiding tasks, emotional eating. I know that one. Brain fog, definitely. impatient with your daughter. I find sometimes we're impatient with the people in our lives. Limiting beliefs definitely creep in. Who am I to think I can do this? That's when we don't want those naysayers around us. Personality switches when I'm stressed. Yeah, direct, bossy, self-doubt, imposter syndrome. I'm familiar with both of those, especially launching my speaking business. Imposter syndrome was real for me until I got paid the first time the amount I asked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually did it. They think I'm good. So that was nice. But then the next day I still went back to having some doubts. When I'm not moving forward, even when I'm putting a lot of work in, it means my brain is not working. Those are all really good signs that we got someone else, that we are, you know, hitting our maximum, that we're approaching a burnout. So some of the things that I thought of for signs and signals are when we're feeling tired. Do you recognize when you're tired, or do you just push through? Do you get anxious the longer you sit and try to make something work, like me last night? Getting anxious. I was super tired, but by God, I was going to make that link work, and it only works for me. So, also, when you're approaching that burnout, sometimes it's just time to walk away and take a brain break. So, I like to talk about brain breaks. And for me, a brain break could be as simple as my coping strategies is when I can't get something done and I find I'm going in a circle, I have a small to-do list. So with my to-do list, I'll be like, okay, if I go upstairs and go clean the dishes or anything else, why do we have a 10-minute timer that just popped up? Aiden? It says that we have 10 minutes left here and then it's going to kick us out. Um,
I'll try to fix that while you go.
okay. So if we lose everybody, it's we're having some difficulties with the Eventbrite and the Zoom. So I'll go a little quicker. So we need to develop better coping strategies. And one of the coping strategies that I teach a lot of is breathing techniques. And I know it sounds funny when I write, "Are you breathing?" And I have people kind of snicker and they're like, "Hell yeah, of course I am. I'm here." But when I talk about breathing, I'm talking about slowing down and just focusing on your breath. And there's all kinds of breath work exercises out there. One of the ones that I've taught a lot, I teach trauma classes as well with yoga for women, and I'll teach people the three-part breath, which is just inhaling slowly. So think of, you can put your hands on your belly, think of filling up your belly. And then think of filling the chest. The last sip of air will fill your throat. And then as you exhale, think of releasing the belly, the chest, and the throat. And when we do this, when we start to cycle our breath, we tend to be able to catch our breath. And I've also teach people that when we focus on our breath, we are taking our mind off our worries. And this is something you can do any place. I also teach a lot of my people to use your hand. If you're in public, you don't want to put the hand on your belly, the hand on your heart, and start breathing. You might get some attention. But if you just use your hand and start breathing the first round, your second round, your third round, you can do this with your hand at your side and nobody even noticing. There's another breath technique, which is a box breath in the handout. And that is where you hold your breath at the top for 4 counts. Depends on if you're somebody that is extremely anxious, that is not the one I would recommend. I would recommend the three-part breath. The other one that I teach is called lion's breath, and it's really fun, especially if you're alone or you can do it with a group. But you just take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, you want to roar like a lion. or say whatever word comes to top of mind. So that is a really nice thing. You just take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, you're very vocal. If the word F means anything to you, or darn, or whatever, you can say that word as you exhale, and it just really helps you release any tension. The other thing I love to do is I get up and dance around with the dog and the cat. I live alone, so I don't have to worry about people thinking I'm crazy. And the other one for anxiety that is really good is the 5 sense grounding technique. So it's taught many different ways, but basically, we want to look at, you can do this on an elevator if you're on your way to an important meeting or you're having a pitch, and this can really help you focus and center yourself before you walk into anything that's going to make you anxious. So we want to find 5 things I see. So look for 5 things in the room right now that you can actually see. And just notice I have a dog, my desk, a pillow, a chair, a glass of water. Then I want to find 4 things that I could touch. Don't touch the people in the elevator. Then you want to have 3 things that you can hear. And depending on where you are, when you focus, you might find that you hear a lot of different sounds. For me, when I'm home, I hear a lot of the birds, I'll hear the dog, I just hear the wind outside right now. 2 things that you could smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And you can play with those numbers. You could go 333, 222, whatever works for you. I just broke it down that way, but that's in the handout as well, the grounding technique. And then I wanted people to think about what's one wellness habit you will commit to this week. Something that is just for you, not necessarily for your business. But if there is one thing that you top of mind that you can think of that you are willing to do for yourself, just make note of it, write it on a sticky, put it on your bathroom window or mirror so you see it first thing in the morning. Place it beside your computer. I have prompts on my phone because sometimes I'll get working and I can sit for way too long. So what you can do is you can set timers into your phone, and you can set them to go every hour. The signs for some people, they become obvious. We'll gain weight. We'll notice that our blood pressure is going up. So there are physical signs that we are overdoing it, that we're not taking care of ourselves, that we're not getting enough sleep or eating properly or moving our bodies enough. Other things are like the aches and the pains. I know when I sit a lot, my back gets really tight. So incorporating using a timer, because I know sometimes when I'm dialed in, I can sit for 3 or 4 hours without realizing it. Any time has gone by because I'm just so focused on completing a task or building a presentation or anything. So using that external reminder to get up, move, can offset some of those other things that we have. I talked about how our relationships can suffer, how we lose touch with people. I even schedule in my calendar a couple of my aunties I'm quite close with, but I'm really bad at calling. So, and they're in their 80s, so they shouldn't have to remember to call me. So I purposely have a note section of things I need to do this week. So I'll have a note, call auntie so and so, call auntie so and so, or touch base, just so that I don't get so busy that I forget about the people that I love and they're really important to me. And when people get older, our time is not infinite. We need to, make the time to do these things that are really important. Again, I talked about how our family or our spouse can complain, but also our kids. We want to explain to our kids that mom or dad has a really big goal and we're working really, really hard towards achieving it. And, the better I do, the more we can do. And I don't have kids, but I was speaking with another lady and she talks on motivation and building dreams. And she was saying that what she does with her kids when she's really busy is she tries to get them involved so that there's a way that they can help. And if it's a you need a financial goal, she posts it on the fridge. And when she hits certain financial goals, there's things attached to that for the kids as a family outing. So one could be we're going bowling. One could be we're going out for a meal. It could be a weekend away, or when I hit my big bonus, I achieve my big goal, I'll take you to Disney World. Whatever that looks like for you, but when you get them involved, then they're more likely to be, do you need help, mom? Like, I can get supper started, or I can load the dishwasher so you can work. And that takes care or at least alleviates some of the resentment that they might have that you're so busy. So we need to plan things, plan our fun outings, plan things with our friends. And then your mental capacity. I noticed some people had put that they get to a point where they have a brain fog, where you could sit at your computer and nothing more is coming out. You're not moving forward. We need to recognize that when we hit those places, sitting for an extra hour, like me last night trying to accomplish something, is absolutely futile. We might as well walk away, go do something else, reset. I find sometimes when I walk away and I'll go and I'll do the dishes and then I'm just doing them, and then all of a sudden light bulb moment. And then I can come back and it's like, oh yeah. And then I can get going and I can complete what I started. So sometimes just recognizing what our mental capacity is. And there's nothing wrong with taking a break. The other weekend, I took 2 whole days off and I made plans with my girlfriends. It was really nice. We had a pool day. We went out for supper. It was great. And then when I came back to work, I was full of energy. I was like ready to go. Whereas if I had worked all week and then spent my weekend in front of a computer, I don't think I would have gotten any more accomplished than if I took my break. I came back. I was happy. I was very content. Spending time with my girlfriends really filled my soul. And then I could continue. So just being aware of what our capacity is, and that is never a negotiable. That should never be something else that somebody decides for you. We are the only people that know what's going on in our head and in our body. And our mental capacity is our mental health. And that's what we really, really need to be aware of. Myself, as an RCMP officer, unfortunately, I was in Moncton during the shootings. And I ended up taking over the team the men were killed on. And I worked 55 days straight without a day off because of exceptional circumstances, etc. I worked 4 months in Moncton, although I lived in Fredericton. I was in Moncton for 4 months. And my way of dealing with it, which looked healthy for my stress, was I run. I ran every day, but I ran to the point that I either threw up or almost threw up. And then I would turn around and I would run back. That was my coping strategy. And to everybody at work, I was just super fit. But it wasn't a good coping strategy because within 4 months, I'm not real big to start with. I lost almost 20 pounds. And I'm one of those weird people that my blood pressure actually disappears instead of goes up. And I ended up being off work for 5 months and wasn't allowed to go back to work until I gained weight and my blood pressure went back up. If you can believe that as a police officer, my blood pressure was in the 60s, 70s, over 40s. And I was told that I wasn't allowed to go to work because they didn't understand how come I hadn't blacked out jumping out of a car yet. So we really need to be cognizant. And then that took me a long time to learn better because I had just kept, when you're in that hypervigilant and adrenaline mode, we don't notice our signs. Like I forget about eating. I'll just keep working. And so we really need to start to take the time to recognize and maybe even sit with it because sometimes I know we're not aware of when we're close to a burnout. And what happens is we actually will hit a burnout before we even know we're almost there. So just becoming aware. And if you have a partner, even having a conversation and letting them, be able to tell you, like, honey, you're getting really sarcastic again, or you're really moody without it triggering, more problems in your life. But we need to focus on some of those things. So, some of the other sustainable self-care ideas and things that I had written down was, like I said, we don't need a spa day. Mind you, they'd be nice, but we need to build real support habits. And if you have children, partner, or spouse, then maybe some of those support habits is creating a calendar of who does what. Just because you're the mom or the dad does not mean that you're the only person who can, do the laundry or vacuum a house. So maybe dividing up the task, or in my case, when I'm really working hard and I have a goal, like today when I was working on this, I really needed to vacuum my floor. And I wanted to wash the floor because I have two animals that come in and out and in and out. Did it need to be done yesterday? No, nobody else complained. It can wait till tonight. So it's just, like for me too, some of those things are avoidance. So we need to learn also what our avoidance techniques are, because when we avoid what we need to do, then we're just increasing our anxiety. We're increasing, more stress on ourselves, on our time. And then when we avoid, then we come to work. I can do it after supper. And then all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you should have went to bed by 10 or 11. So it's just learning those things for yourself. Bless you.
Sorry.
Also, it is, like I said, if you can prep your meals or prep your snacks so that your future self doesn't reach for that, sugar laden food just to keep you going, carrying things with you. And the other thing I've learned is it's okay to go to the grocery store or Costco and buy my veggies already all pre-cut. Because if they're all pre-cut, I can put them in a dish, I can bring them downstairs with hummus, and I can eat them while I'm working. Whereas if I got to take that break and I got to cut everything up, sometimes I throw things away. So just, paying a little more sometimes actually saves you money, but it's also your health. So having those good things on hand, also making those bad things harder to get. So I'm lucky, I'm alone. So I don't have to keep chips or cookies or anything in my house. Different when you have children, but if you don't have it in your house, then it's not going to be there to tempt you. And then, as I said, take 15 to 30-minute brain breaks. Maybe that's accomplishing a chore, doing a mini workout, doing some stretches, going for a walk, even if you're in a building or Maritimes, it's the winter time, even just stepping outside and just breathing for a couple of minutes can really change things. It just helps us to relax. Natural sunlight is the best thing for us just to help with melatonin and to reset our bodies, refocus the mind, and simply just walking away from that screen and not focusing is the best thing to help those creative juices to make you be able to move forward and keep going much better. And then build in white spaces. Block in time for rest. So on your calendar, actually have, and I have it on Fridays, I don't have anything in my afternoons purposely, because that is when I know that if I need to make an appointment, I'll try to do it then. I can catch up on any of the things that I didn't accomplish, or maybe you want to make sure that your Thursday mornings are free because you are working with or somebody else and you have deadlines. Block off a chunk of time where you're not going to schedule a call, no appointments, no nothing. Turn off your notifications on your phone and everything, And that block of time might be something that you can go, oh my gosh, I have nothing I need to do. Then you can take care of you better. Or you have that chunk of 3 hours maybe that you didn't schedule anything in. So that could be like your no stress buffer, we'll call it. So that if you didn't get things done that needed to be done during the week, you have that buffer that you can go and you can fill and get what you needed done because you kept it open. So that's a really good thing that I've learned. Also, I've learned that the best thing to do before I walk away is I brain dump at nighttime before I go to sleep. I will brain dump what I need to do and I will make a big, big list. And then from my list, I look at it and I'm like, okay, what are my priorities? Well, it's not doing my floor. So what's the most important thing? Oh, yes, I have to finish my presentation. Oh, I have to get this to so and so. I have to finish or proofread this document. Whatever it is you need to do, prioritize it. There we go. I take a highlighter and I will highlight 3 or 4 things off my big to-do list and then I focus on those. And then my other little list might be my 15-minute break. So my movement break. Oh, I'm going to take my dog for a walk and get my mail in the afternoon. That's our ritual. I wash my dishes during one of my brain breaks. So you just have things that you can check off. I don't know about you, but if I have a little list with chores that only take like 5 minutes, and I get them done, if I come back and I look and I'm like, oh, I only got 2 of my big things done. But while I moved around, I did 5 things. I put away the laundry, I washed my dishes. It at least gives you a sense that I'm still accomplishing things instead of just being still all day and you're spinning your wheels. And then, like I said, move daily, even if it's only 5 minutes. Make sure that you are fitting that time in. And what I had for a final thought was ambition without wellness is just a countdown to collapse.